Sometimes, the best movie scenes are created when an actor is inspired to adapt or use a prop that isn't part of the script. You'll be surprised that some of the most iconic and glorious moments in cinema were created on the spot. In this video, let's go through 10 memorable improv moments that everyone seems to love. Starting off the list with one of the most hilarious moments from the 2013 blockbuster The Wolf of Wall Street, featuring the hunk of heaven, Matthew McConaughey and Leonardo DiCaprio. Fans loved the scene where McConaughey was banging his chest. As it turns out, this was something the actor made up on the spot. The ritual was actually something McConaughey would do before shooting, and he decided that he would bring it into the scene. Even Leonardo DiCaprio was left off guard and was on the verge of cracking up. He even looked over at the camera crew as McConaughey's chest beating and humming escalates. Moving on, we have a Golden Bear award-winning flick in Rain Man. After its release in 1988, this movie became the highest-grossing film of that year. Star of the film, Dustin Hoffman, won an Oscar for his portrayal of an autistic savant who inherits the majority of his father's estate. More than 30 years on, the film is being viewed as controversial because of its perceived autism stereotyping. However, despite the controversy, fans still love it and continue to quote several scenes, including a great unscripted one that had Tom Cruise's eyes watering. While filming the scene where Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman's characters are in a phone booth, Hoffman let one rip, exclaiming, "Uh-oh, fart, uh-oh, fart," started an improvised back and forth between the two actors that was so funny, it was kept in the movie.
Uh-oh, fart.
Yeah, Charlie Babbitt, I'll hold.
Fart.
Did you fart, Ray?
Fart.
Did you fucking fart?
Fart.
Oh, man. Look at this. How can you stand that?
I don't mind it.
How can you stand it?
Hoffman still refers to the incident as his favourite scene in the film. Up next is an unfortunate improv scene that we found hard not to include in this list. 2011's hit Bridesmaids opened the door for a new breed of raunchy, female-oriented rom-coms that broke the mould for the genre. And some of its most memorable scenes were improvised. There was so much ad-libbing that director Paul Feig prepared for it by using two cameras for many of the one-on-one scenes so he could capture and cut together both reactions. Many of Melissa McCarthy's over-the-top moments during the dress-fitting scene, as well as the banter with the air marshal on the plane, were all unscripted. However, the improv winner in Bridesmaids is a horrible and hilarious scene where bride-to-be Lillian, played by Maya Rudolph, makes an unexpected stop in the middle of the street after getting food poisoning.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It happened. It happened.
Can animated movies also have improvisations? Well, yes. Up next is The Lion King, one of the best animated movies ever made. This movie, which by the way is nearly 3 decades old, combines heartfelt scenes with comedic ones, making for an unforgettable movie experience. In addition, there are several homages to other legendary movies and actors, including beloved warthog Pumbaa yelling, "They call me Mr. Pig," in reference to Sidney Poitier's iconic "They call me Mr. Tibbs." Timon and his sidekick Pumbaa are an unmissable duo and created several hilarious scenes together. One of these, the luau scene, was improvised by Nathan Lane, who voiced Timon. He ad-libbed, "What do you want me to do, dress in drag and do the hula?" After Simba said they needed live bait as a diversion for the hyenas. The director of the film loved the line so much that he created the hula dance and song around it.
You guys have to create a diversion.
What do you want me to do, dress in drag and do the hula? Luau! If you're hungry for a hunk of fat and juicy meat, eat my buddy Pumba here because he has a treat. Coming down a dine, on a Stacy swine, all you have to do is get in line. Ah, you aching?
Yup.
Oh, some bacon.
Yup.
He's a big pig.
Yup.
You can be a big pig too. Bang!
Moving on, we have an improv scene from Pulp Fiction, often regarded as one of the best films ever made. The movie is chock full of fantastic scenes and memorable dialogue. There is the Honey Bunny and Pumpkin moment, the Three Little Fonzies scene, and Quentin Tarantino's coffee cameo. to name just a very few. John Travolta and Uma Thurman also shine in the film and have one of many distinctive moments when they enter a dance contest in a retro diner called Jack Rabbit Slim's. Tarantino requested that Travolta and Thurman dance the twist to You Never Can Tell by Chuck Berry. Travolta took the scene to a whole new level when he improvised more dance moves into the scene, including the spin, the hitchhiker, and the Batman. Tarantino left it in Travolta's hands and was hugely impressed with how the scene turned out.
Wedding and the old folks wished him well. You could see that Pierre did truly love the mademoiselle. And now the young monsieur and madame have rung the chop.
Moving on, let's shift our focus to some superhero movies, particularly in the MCU. You see, the relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker is one of the most endearing in all of the MCU. Robert Downey Jr. and Holland have such great chemistry on set that makes their scenes together almost effortless. A great example of this is at the beginning of Spiderman Homecoming, when Tony and Peter are in the car together. Tony loans over Peter to open the door for him, which Peter takes as an awkward attempt at a hug. The embrace was improvised by Holland, and the ever-professional Downey played right along with it.
That's not a hug, I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
Bye.
This unscripted moment led to one of the most satisfying payoffs in Avengers Endgame when Peter finally got that hug from Tony.
Only thing that he does all the time. What are you doing? Oh, this is nice.
And speaking of the Avengers movies, Holland had some brilliant improv moments in these movies as well. We all became emotional when we first watched Avengers Infinity War and experienced the heartbreaking scene of Peter dusting away in Tony's arms. It was such a powerful scene, driven by the incredible performance from Holland. This moment was largely improvised by Holland, who said that Joe Russo simply told him to act like he didn't want to go away. And that spawned Holland's tear-jerking emotional scene.
I don't want to go, sir. Please. Please, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
The reason why Tom repeats the line over and over is because it's one of his processes as an actor. When he needs to cry, he picks the line and constantly repeats it until the tears start flowing. Moving on, you'll be surprised that old Hollywood horror movies had some spectacular improv moments of their own. Take, for instance, American Psycho, a disturbing film made more so by the brilliant performance of Christian Bale. Bale claimed that he'd drawn inspiration for his alpha male scenes from observing Tom Cruise. He also spoke in an American accent at all times to ensure a flawless delivery during filming. So when he reverted back to his native English accent at the wrap party, many of the crew were shocked as they thought he was American. Bale improvised several scenes in the film, the most memorable of which was the moonwalk he did when hiding away an axe before murdering Paul Allen, played by Jared Leto.
He's been compared to Elvis Costello, but I think Huey has a far more bitter, cynical sense of humor.
The author of the preceding novel, Bret Easton Ellis, however, wasn't a huge fan of the improv, even though he approved of the movie adaptation overall. Up next, we have an improv moment from the late Robin Williams. The beloved actor won an Oscar for his supporting actor role in Goodwill Hunting, in which he played a therapist to Matt Damon's Will Hunting character. The pair were praised for their on-screen chemistry, and the film has been ranked 53 on Hollywood's 100 favourite films list. Being the comedian that he was, it is no surprise that Williams improvised the funniest scene in the movie. As Dr. Sean Maguire, Williams goes down memory lane when asked questions about his deceased wife. He then leaves the script behind and tells Hunting, "She used to fart in her sleep. One night it was so loud it woke the dog up. She woke up and was like, 'Oh, was that you?' I'd go, 'Yeah.' I just didn't have the heart to tell her."
Asleep. I'm sorry I shared that with you. One night it was so loud it woke the dog up. She woke up and got like, "Oh, was that you?" I said, "Yeah, I didn't have the heart to tell her." Oh, God.
Finally, we have an improv scene by the iconic Tom Hanks from one of Stephen King's adaptations. While most Stephen King adaptations are not well received, The Green Mile was a huge success at the box office and received excellent reviews from critics. The late Michael Clarke Duncan played the memorable role of John Coffey, for which he earned an Academy Award nomination. He was suggested for the part by Bruce Willis, who had nothing but praise for the actor after working with him on Armageddon. Another unforgettable main character is Edward Delacroix, who awaits his execution while on death row. When his time is finally up, he dies a violent death after a dry sponge is left on the electrodes of the electric chair. The actor behind the character, Michael Jeter, ad-libbed Delacroix's final words, praying the Hail Mary in Cajun French. However, in this case, it's not the improv that gets the most attention. Instead, the death scene itself traumatized many moviegoers and is still referred to as the movie scene that went too far. Well, that's it for this video. Which of these iconic movie scenes was your favorite? Do let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.